Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, December 8th. It's Friday. It's a 13-game main slate. If you're joining me for the very first time, this is how today's video will be structured. We will not be having a recap since yesterday was just a slate breakdown overall for the 2-game end-season semifinal matchup. But we'll get over to the injuries on RotoWire, talk through each of them for each game. And then after that, we'll get over to DraftKings and FanDuel and talk about my core picks for today. So it's going to be one player at each position. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. But without further ado, we'll get into those injuries and play for today's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the Detroit Pistons, who have Joe Harris listed as questionable. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury, been out for quite some time. May or may not play today. Probably not a major part of the rotation either way. And then we have Monte Morris remaining out, and Jalen Duran is also out tonight. So it'll be interesting to see what the starting five looks like for the Pistons overall today. Do they move Isaiah Stewart over to the 5, Bogdanovich at the 4, and start somebody that way? Does Isaiah Livers end up in that starting lineup? Does it end up being Marvin Bagley, who was completely out of rotation last time around? Is it James Wiseman starting at the 5? A lot of different ways that this team could go tonight. Could open up a little bit of potential value there. Then on the Orlando Magic side, we have Markelle Fultz, Wendell Carter, and Kevon Harris all out tonight. And then Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac both listed as questionable due to ankle injuries. Suggs is going to be the main piece there. If he doesn't play, should open up some extra minutes for guys like Cole Anthony and Gary Harris. And then we move over to Atlanta Hawks, who are without Buffkin Guy and Jalen Johnson once again. And Trae Young is questionable for tonight's game. He is dealing with an illness. We'll see whether or not he plays. If he doesn't play tonight, DeJounte Murray is probably going to be the ultimate chalk. And then you open up some other guys like Bogdanovich. Sadiq Bey is going to look a lot better as well. Philadelphia 76ers on the opposite side appear to be all the way healthy at this point in time. Toronto Raptors are just without Christian Koloko, so no real changes there. For the Charlotte Hornets, they're without LaMelo Ball, Cody Martin, and Frank Ntilikina once again. And then Mark Williams listed as questionable due to his back injury. We'll see whether or not he ultimately ends up playing tonight, but he did miss on Wednesday. And then with that being said, if he doesn't start, we're probably just going to see Nick Richards in that starting lineup again. PJ Washington's going to look a little bit better as well. Then we get down to the New York Knicks, who appear to be all the way healthy at this point in time. Boston Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis is probable for tonight's game, so should be seeing him back. We'll see whether or not he has some type of minutes restriction. I would assume so since he's coming off a calf injury. And then we move over to the Washington Wizards, who have Johnny Davis, Ryan Rollins, Landry Shamet, and DeLon Wright all out once again. And Daniel Gafford listed as questionable. He left their most recent game with an ankle injury, came back, played pretty well in the time that he actually did play in that game, but we'll see whether or not he plays tonight. Could open up a little bit of value there. Maybe Mike Muscala gets to start at center. Then for the Brooklyn Nets, just Ben Simmons and Lonnie Walker out once again. So the exact same thing we've seen in their most recent game. Then we move down to Cleveland Cavaliers. Ty Jerome, Karis LeVert, and Ricky Rubio are all out once again. And then we have Evan Mobley listed as questionable. That's kind of a big piece for today. If he doesn't play, it's going to make guys like Jared Allen look a little bit better. Assume that Dean Wade is in that starting lineup, but Georges Niang could be live as well. And then for the Miami Heat, we have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Haywood Highsmith all out once again. And then Duncan Robinson listed as probable, so he should be out there tonight. So pretty much what we've seen from the Miami Heat in their most recent game. Orlando Robinson played 33 minutes in that game, so he's probably going to look really good once again tonight. We move over to the Golden State Warriors, just Gary Payton out. And then on the Thunder side, they appear to be all the way healthy tonight. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, they did get Anthony Edwards back in their most recent game. But we have Clark and McDaniel still missing tonight, and Jordan McLaughlin is listed as questionable. He's been out for quite some time. And then on the Grizzlies side, we have Clark, Kennard, John Morant, and Marcus Smart all out. Once again, Jake LaRavia technically listed as doubtful, so he's getting closer to returning, but still probably out tonight. Move down to the Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs. On the Bulls side, Zach LaVine's out. He's going to be out probably till January at this point in time. And then we have Torrey Craig and Alex Caruso both listed as probable to play for tonight's game. On the Spurs side, they appear to be all the way healthy. It will be interesting to see whether or not they start Cedi Osman in that lineup once again tonight. And if he does start, he's going to look like a pretty good play overall. For the Houston Rockets, we have Jock Landale, Victor Oladipo, and Amen Thompson all out once again. So pretty much the same thing we saw in their most recent game. Should have Jeff Green back tonight, though. Then on the Denver Nuggets side, Kankar's out once again. And then Jamal Murray listed as probable due to that ankle injury. Did play in their most recent game, though. And then we move over to the Sacramento Kings, who have, I believe it's Colby Jones out, as well as Alex Len. And then Chris Duarte listed as questionable due to his knee injury, but was able to practice yesterday. So assume that he will be back tonight, but not anybody that we want to play for DFS purposes at this point in time. And then on the Phoenix Suns side, could be a lot of potential value here. So we have Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Damian Lee all out tonight. Durant and Grayson Allen are going to be the two biggest ones there. I should say the two newest ones. So we're probably going to see Josh Okogie and Keta Bates-Diop both enter that starting lineup. Could be more minutes for a guy like Jordan Goodwin and Nas Little in tonight's game overall. Then we move down to the Dallas Mavericks. Josh Green, Maxi Kleber, and Grant Williams all out once again. So pretty similar to what we've seen in their most recent game. Dante Exum did get the start. He did play decently in that game too as well, which is kind of odd. But that's neither here nor there. And then we go over to the Portland Trail Blazers. We got Jeremy Grant, Ish Wainwright both out once again. DeAndre Ayton listed as doubtful. Dop Breath is going to be a pretty good value play on both sides once again. And then Malcolm Brogdon listed as questionable due to his own knee injury. So if he's unable to go, we'll see whether or not Scoot Henderson re-enters that starting lineup, or if they slide Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe over and then start a guy like Matisse Thybulle or Jabari Walker at that point in time. For the Clippers, Mason Plumlee is out. Brandon Boston, who's kind of been out all season, was assigned to the G League, so at least he's getting closer to returning at this point in time. And then for the Utah Jazz, Lauren Markkanen continues to miss with his hamstring injury. And then we have Kelly Olynyk listed as questionable due to shoulder injury. I believe he was able to practice in full yesterday. And then Jordan Clarkson, dealing with that thigh injury, is also listed as questionable for tonight's game overall. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on all the injuries in play for tonight's games. As always, I will be leaving all the injury updates throughout the day down in the comments, as well as the starting lineups throughout the night. But with that being said, we'll get moving over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So we are going to start off at that point guard position with Anthony Simons, $6,800, looking for 34 points down. Essentially was averaging on the season, although he's only played 2 games so far this season. Came back from that thumb injury, played 37 minutes, played pretty well in that game too, over 37 DraftKings points. Looking for 34 out of him once again tonight. Currently have him projected for 36. He does give you just a little bit of upside for more if he's going out there and shooting the ball well. And if he's playing that point guard spot instead of the shooting guard spot, could get some extra assists in that situation as well. And then we move down to shooting guard with James Harden at $7,900. I'll be completely honest. I was going to make this DeJounte Murray because I don't think Trae Young's going to play tonight. But when you put DeJounte Murray in with his core 5, the average remaining salary is $6,666. And I just don't want that bad juju on us to start the day. So we went James Harden here. Pretty favorable matchup against the Jazz. He's been playing better as of late. We're looking for 39 out of him. He's averaging 36 on the season. Currently I'm projected for 40 to 41 fantasy points tonight. As long as this game's somewhat competitive, should be out there playing big minutes and playing pretty well. And then we move over to the small forward position with Bogdan Bogdanovic, $6,500. Another guy that's only played 2 games on the season. Monster game last time out where he was just clearly mispriced. A very favorable matchup tonight against Orlando. Looking for 32, 33 fantasy points out of him. Probably the best or second best player on this Pistons team at this point in time, just kind of depending on how you rank Cade Cunningham. But do really expect him to play big minutes, play pretty well, and kind of be a big reason in this game. Orlando's got a good record, but at the same time, they're not great on defense. They're still not the greatest team overall, so this game should remain close. And with no Jalen Duren out there, could see some minutes at the 4 too, so maybe he gets a couple extra rebounds here and there as well. So definitely like Bogdanovic today. Currently have him projected for 36 fantasy points on the DraftKings side, and he definitely has upside for more, as we've seen as recently as the last game he played in. Then we move down to power forward Cedi Osman, $4,700. Assuming that he's in the starting lineup once again tonight, he's going to look pretty good, playing big minutes, looking for 23, 24 out of him. Currently I'm projected for 26 tonight. It's a really favorable matchup against the Bulls. Should be a pretty high-paced back-and-forth game. Both these teams aren't the greatest defensively, so should just be a high-scoring game in general. And he's just a guy that does a little bit of everything, so I really do like him on tonight's slate overall, especially at a pay-down price tag. And then last but not least, we go to center with Dop Breath. Once again, only $4,000, looking for 20 points out. Currently, I'm projected for 24 tonight. And centers have done pretty well versus Dallas so far this season. They've been getting extra rebounds, although Reith really hasn't been shown to be the guy that gets a ton of rebounds, but maybe it's the spot for him tonight. So I definitely do like his upside, but 24 points feels like a pretty safe projection. Just looks like a really good value play on today's slate overall. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, $20,100, remaining $6,700 per player. So kind of mix and match for the rest away from here. Maybe it's a balanced build type of day, but there's probably going to be value that does open up throughout the day as the day moves along. 13-game main slate on a Friday. Chaos will always ensue. So definitely make sure you're checking up as we get closer to lock for all those injury updates, as well as my updated core 15 to 20 minutes prior to the lock, or as those changes do become available throughout the night. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So once again, we're going to start off at point guard with Anthony Simons, $6,600, looking for 33 out of him, averaging 33 in the 2 games that he's played so far this season. Like I said, last game he returned, he played 37 minutes. He had a really good performance in that game. If he gets some extra point guard minutes tonight, could look even better. Currently, I'm projected for about 35 fantasy points on the FanDuel side tonight. Then we move down to shooting guard, the guy that we didn't play on DraftKings, DeJounte Murray here at $7,900. Looking for 39.40 out of him. Got him projected for 41. If Trae Young doesn't play, he's going to look even better. Probably going to get you close to 50 fantasy points. Not the greatest matchup versus the Philadelphia 76ers in the world, but if there's no Trae Young out there, somebody's going to have to make something happen for this Atlanta team overall, and it's probably going to be Murray more times than not. Then at small forward, we're going to go with Bojan Bogdanovic once again, $6,300, so a little bit cheaper on the FanDuel side as opposed to DraftKings. Looking for 31-32 out of him. Pretty good matchup versus Orlando tonight. Still one of those top 2 players for this Pistons team at this point in time. So he's going to be pretty much able to do whatever he wants. Most of the time, it's just him and Cade Cunningham going out there doing their thing. Currently, I'm projected for 35 fantasy points on the FanDuel side tonight. Definitely has some upside for more as well. Then we move down to power forward with Cedi Osman once again, $4,100, only looking for 21 out of him on FanDuel. You can play him at small forward too as well if you really want to. Good matchup tonight versus the Chicago Bulls. If he's in that starting lineup playing big minutes, he's going to outperform this price tag pretty easily. Still have him projected for 26 fantasy points. He's a guy that can contribute in a lot of different ways as well. And then last but not least, we're going to go with center Orlando Robinson, $5,500. A lot of different center options out there tonight that you could choose from. Could be one that changes throughout the day. If Evan Mobley misses, he probably looks a little bit better tonight because then you don't have the twin towers of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen both out there. Orlando Robinson played 33 minutes in his most recent game. And with that being said, at $5,500, we're looking for 27, 28 points out. Pretty much done that most of the times that he has started so far this season, played big minutes in all 3 of those games, and I currently have him projected for 29 FanDuel points tonight overall. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do have listed, you got $29,500 remaining, just under $7,400 per player, so maybe a little bit more of a balanced day to start off the day, but like I said, chaos will always ensue on a Friday, especially a 13-game main slate, so there's going to be more values opening up throughout the day. So definitely be able to pay up for a couple different options. If you want to pay up at center to Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid over Orlando Robinson, you can definitely do that as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, December 8th. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then with that being said, please note whether those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as always, I will be listing all the injury updates throughout the day. There could be quite a few of them. Not as bad as I was expecting for a 13-game main slate on a Friday. But, we never know what's going to happen throughout the day, as well as those starting lineups as they come out throughout the evening. And then last but not least, I will leave my updated core as a pinned comment about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock. If there's no changes at that point in time, the pinned comment will just say no changes to the core at this point in time. I do expect that there's probably going to be some on tonight's slate overall as more news comes out, but there is always the chance that it kind of sticks. And if there's any changes after that fact, I will leave them as a reply to that pinned comment as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have NBA DFS Monday through Friday in terms of the core picks. This week's been a little bit more messy. We've had a lot more slate breakdowns because of the in-season tournament, but it's been a pretty good week overall. Hopefully you guys have all enjoyed it. And then if you're interested in NFL DFS, be sure to check out my NFL DFS player pool video coming out tomorrow. Typically late morning, early afternoon is when that video gets released. And then also be sure to check out my NFL DFS cheat sheets for both FanDuel and DraftKings over on the Sports Affiliation website. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you are a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, the very first time you make a deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. So for Parlay Play and Prize Picks, it'll be up to $100. If you put $100 in, you'll get a $100 bonus. And if you put $10 in, you get a $10 bonus. Pretty simple there. And then for BetUS, it's 125% of your initial deposit. So if you put $100 in, you get $125, and that is up to $2,500. So if you put $2,000 in, you get $2,500 $100 in promo credit over there. And then if you have any questions related to sports betting, prop betting, just in general, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.